This is a world map as we most often see it. It's called a Mercator projection, but it's not entirely correct. Let me explain. To present the area of a globe on a map, some adjustments have to be made to prevent empty areas. In 1569, Mercator did just that, and since then we work with this map. The biggest deviation is that the areas that are further from the equator are stretched, which causes them to appear much larger than they actually are. In this video I will show you some interesting examples and also give you a chance to play around with some amazing maps for yourself. To start off, we take a look at Russia. The largest country of the world is quite far north, and if we take its area and move it closer to the equator, you can see the true size of it. We can say it's small, but it's a great difference. And if we place it over the continent of Africa, you can see that it's actually just as wide. The same goes for Canada, which has a lot of northern land area as well. It's almost the same size as the United States, and when moving it south, this looks very different and can almost even fit in the northern half of South America. Up next, I want to show you just how wide Indonesia actually is. This country lies on both sides of the equator and appears to be very wide on this map. If we move this one further to the north, we see just how large it actually is. And this is what it looks like if we place it over Russia. It's about just as far from London to New York as the entire width of Indonesia. Up next is Australia. This is a massive country, but it's still underrated on most maps. If we move it north to compare it to Europe, you can see it can cover the majority of it. For a quick comparison, there are about 28 million people living in Australia and 742 million people living in Europe. If you are enjoying this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Up next, I want to show you just how insanely huge Africa is. Watch this. We can fit in Australia, Brazil, Sweden, Greenland, Kazakhstan and Argentina even twice, and theoretically there is still enough space left to fit in India, which is the 8th largest country in the world. If you look at a map, you probably wouldn't say that Greenland is only 15,000 kilometers squared larger than Saudi Arabia. But using this website, you can actually see that they're pretty much the same size. Again, this is because Greenland is so far north and just shrinks when you move it closer to the equator. Because 70% of Earth's land area is in the northern hemisphere, quite often a lot of maps are made as if you look on a globe slightly from above, causing the countries in the southern hemisphere to appear even smaller in comparison to the countries in the northern hemisphere. A good example of this is the comparison between Argentina and Kazakhstan. Both countries lie at comparable latitudes, but Kazakhstan is in the northern hemisphere and Argentina in the southern. And even though there's just a difference of 55,000 kilometers squared, Kazakhstan appears to be a lot larger, as you can see right here. If you are excited by this, you can now go and play around with it yourself. Just go to thetruesize.com and have some fun. But maybe after you found out which capital lies the closest to the equator.